What's up, guys? Jar here. I wanted to make another video talking about the finals, and just a few weeks ago, the finals pushed a new update that contained a limited time mode called Dragon's Claim. While LTMs are generally pretty small inclusions on a week-to-week basis, every now and again we get LTMs just like Dragon's Claim that are fully themed around the season and come with a grand rollout, special rewards, and more that encourage players to check out the mode and play it regularly. Everything that I had heard about Dragon's Claim prior to actually trying it out myself was fantastic, and it got me thinking about the impact of LTMs and how important I think they can be for the finals, and it's what I wanted to talk about today. So starting off, what is Dragon's Claim? I'll have some gameplay on screen so you can see it as I'm talking, but the general gist goes like this. Dragon's Claim is a 5v5 objective-based mode where you and your team push towards a flag that spawns somewhere on the map. Picking up that flag gives your team control of it, with the main goal being holding the flag for a specific amount of time to fully claim it and stake it into the ground. After it's placed into the ground, the game shifts and goes from a capture the flag as setup to a Magic King of the Hill, as a zone is spawned in a circle around the flag for a limited time. Naturally, staying in that zone gives your team money and scales with the amount of teammates standing in the zone. While you're also defending from the other team, a dragon will come around and strike fire in the zone, forcing you to be aware of your positioning and surroundings. And after a while, the zone disappears and the match resets back to the flag capture, and this repeats until time runs out or the target goal is reached. After playing this myself, it genuinely is one of the most creative and engaging LTMs that Embark has added to the finals, and as of this video going live, it is over. But I highly suggest you look at some videos of what this game mode is so you can see it for yourself. If you didn't get a chance to play this, you really did a disservice to yourself. Now, while Dragon's Claim is fantastic and is genuinely one of my favorite LTMs they've ever done, it sparked a bigger conversation in my head about LTMs as a whole and the impact of their inclusion in the game. So naturally, I was curious. I asked a few weeks ago on Twitter how people feel about LTMs in the finals, if they played them more than the normal modes, and if there was something they changed about them. After this tweet went out, I got a variety of answers, but most of them came from a very similar sentiment of feeling like LTMs are a very important piece of the game for one reason, and that is the variety that it offers. After 2.5 years of the finals at this point, we've played the core game modes and broken them down in ways that I don't think Embark ever intended us to. We ran modes like Point Break, Bank It, and even Terminal Attack down to their cores, and I'm confident that the majority of our gameplay hours come from these core modes. But I think LTMs, as others have mentioned, are important because of the variety they offer. When a mode like Dragon's Claim comes around, the newness of it all is exciting. Dragon's Claim takes two fan-favorite standard FPS modes and matches them together to create a unique experience that works and plays differently than anything else in the game. And the same can be said about Heaven or Else, another LTM, or Super Cash Ball, or Heavy Hitters, Blast Off, Smoking Guns, or any of the LTMs Embark creates for us to experience. These LTMs are full experiences that last for weeks at a time, some having custom maps, mechanics, skins, and more that gives you the impression that these LTMs aren't just another mode when they're being created. And I think World Tour is evidence of that. Going back to what I mentioned and talked about in my last video, which if you haven't seen, you can click the top right and go right to it. World Tour is a core game mode, but it's also a form of a LTM in a way. World Tour's core is cash out, and it always has been that, besides Season 2. But every week, there are different mechanics and modifiers applied to it, and as a result, it keeps the experience fresh and fun for people playing. One week, you may have double jumping mechanics, and the next, there may be a bounty system built in that you haven't seen in any other mode in the game. World Tour's entire premise is built around changing the mechanics weekly, so the mode never becomes boring or tired, and as a result, it's the most popular game mode in the game and where people usually have the most fun with their friends. And I think Embark knows this and uses this ideology to build their LTMs to the scale that they do. The issue is that at its core, World Tour is still cash out. And even with a slightly changed mechanics, it gets old after a while. And that's where the LTMs come in. Embark knows that eventually you're going to get bored of cash out. And that's a given and normal for players. So their solution is to always have something different for you to play. That changes the game formula completely. There's always some form of a mode going on that is completely different from the core game modes. A fresh experience to break up the game loop. And while I'm sure they'd love it if you wanted to queue cash out for 6 hours of your 6-hour session, some players just can't do that because they get bored or fatigued, and that's fine. If you are bored of cash out, how about you come check out this LTM that lets you jump around on bounce pads and knock each other around like a match of Super Smash Bros. The idea behind it all is to offer you multiple different experiences, so even if you don't want to play the core game, you still stay on the game playing something else because you enjoy the game that much. If you've never put in the time to play any of the LTM offerings or really dive into those experiences, I highly recommend it. On top of having those fantastic and creative game modes regularly throughout their seasons, these LTMs also offer free reward tracks for all players that typically don't even require you to play that mode. I promise that even if you don't like the mode currently on rotation and decide that it's not for you, there's such a large variety of LTMs constantly on rotation that I promise there is a mode in there for you somewhere. I'd love to get your guys' takes on LTMs, what your favorite ones are, and what you change. Leave your answers in the comment below. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Got him. Got him. Oh, I whipped it. No. I felt so confident in that. That was unfortunate. I whipped. Bro, I can't hit my shots right now. Oh, we're losing. GG's. Overtime? Bro, give me the melee. That's crazy. I was gonna bounce. I was gonna zip line off that bounce pad. Kind of sis, baby.